All right, what is good? What is up? I apologize for it being so long since I last did a Rolling with Hayes. It's been so busy with work. I just getting back from being in Sweden for essentially a week, getting back on my game. We're talking straight NFL draft this week. So what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Rolling with Hayes. I am Hayes, aka AO50, one of the co-hosts of the whole We Got Next platform with the one, the only Stephen S. _Springs, the homie. We're gonna kind of analyze different things. I'll kind of dissect the ones that were more notable picks in the draft. Ones that some people had question marks around. Ones that people were like, why did this happen? Of course, we got to start with the number one pick in the draft. That was Caleb Williams. Shout out to Caleb Williams. They knew this for a minute. It was almost, if you all remember, back in the, like a couple years ago when it was tanking for Tua. And this is kind of how it went, tanking for Caleb. Last year, of course, was Bryce Young, number one. I'm personally saying that I'd choose Caleb Williams over Bryce Young if we're going this year compared to last year. And just kind of looking over everything that is going on with Chicago. They also did pick up Rome Odunze in the top 10 picks as well. So you were able to put those two together, of course, with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift. So they have a team. My thoughts and feelings behind what happened, I feel bad for Justin Fields. As soon as they knew it wasn't going to work out there, they didn't give him any more pieces. Like, they gave him a DJ Moore, and they were like, yep, that's it. That's all we're doing. And they had their sights set on Caleb Williams. Personally, I don't think they were ever thinking about trading that pick. If people think that they were, I don't believe it. They also probably looked at the trade market for Justin Fields, and when they weren't going to get much for him, they were like, let's go with Caleb Williams. And Caleb has all the pieces to be successful on offense. The defense, I can foresee a good amount of their picks through the second round to the seventh round being focused on the defense. You could do trips every single time. You could, of course, DJ Moore probably is going to play on the outside. Rome Odunze is probably going to play on the outside. Then you could put Keenan Allen in the slot as well. But whoever is going to be that nickel corner that has to play on, if Keenan Allen's in the slot, that's big time, man. Personally, fantasy football-wise, I'm not going with any of the wide receivers because when you have a rookie quarterback and then you have three solid receivers, it's personally to me, a better version of what the Seahawks have. Because they have JSN, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. They have DK Metcalf, and then they also have Tyler Lockett. I take these three over the three that are in Seattle. And again, you have Cole Kmet, who's a solid tight end. DeAndre Swift showed you what he can do as well. Kind of going into the number 2 pick in the draft was Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels does have help with Jahan Dotson and then Scary Terry McLaurin. So that's something that you do want to see how they're going to continue to develop him there. Of course, you have Austin Eckler in the backfield. So it's solid pieces. I don't think they're going to finish 1 or 2 in the division. Can they, fight-ish for a spot? They probably could fight for a spot in the playoffs. I don't think it'll happen, though. But Jayden Daniels will bring excitement to Maryland, a.k.a. the DMV area, with that pick. I love LSU players when they come out. They just have this fight about them that you can't really teach. And no matter who the coach is down there, they just know exactly what to give. So solid pickup there. Number 3 was Drake May. So you had 3 straight quarterbacks picked. Of course, they're going to be compared to each other. Same as the year when the Josh Allens of the world, Sam Darnolds of the world were all picked together, and you end up seeing who was the one that stood out. But yeah, so you have Drake May, pick number 3. They need to get a lot of weapons there. They don't have that many weapons. Of course, they have Ramondre Stevenson still, But you need weapons there for Drake May to be successful. I know that there's speculation that goes back and forth. I heard like Brandon Ayuk at one point, then I heard Deebo Samuel at another point was going to be picked there. Don't know how that's going to turn out, but that was number 3. Number 4, Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Cardinals. Solid pick. They have Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. to go along with Kyler Murray. So those are good weapons. I don't see them winning the division or coming in second because the 49ers there, you have the Rams there, and you have the Cardinals that are out there too, and the Seahawks. So it's a tough division. It'll be exciting to see them. Fantasy football-wise, you can pick up either of them, and they should do well, which is something I would recommend. Marvin Harrison's going to be a stud. I don't think he's going to... They're not going to make a lot of playoff games in Arizona. They need a lot of work for that to end up happening. But that's a good pickup. He's in a good position to be successful as a wide receiver and be similar to what his dad was. I'm not going to say he will be his dad because we have to see how he translates into the NFL, but he's pro ready. And we just have to see the longevity of his career, what schemes are fit for him, what coaches are going to be there, because that's really how it is. You look at Mecole Hardman, when he was with the New York Jets, it didn't really work out for him, but he came back to the Chiefs and won another Super Bowl and had one of the biggest catches of the Super Bowl. So it really always just depends. That's number 4. Number 5 is Jaw. That man is big. Like, you could tell they're trying to have a Michigan-ish way. So the odds makers are, of course, saying that they're probably going to go with Blake Corum in the 2nd or 3rd round. If they do, they're just trying to focus like run heavy and bring Michigan-style offense back to the NFL. We'll see how that works out. Offensive linemen are never a bad decision to do. You can go wrong with them, but more times than not, you can't. If you look at the statistics, it does show that offensive linemen are good pickups. Wide receivers do have question marks. Of course, you would have wished that the Chargers would have picked up a wide receiver. And now you just got to go stupid in the wide receiver market. Like, pick up a bunch of them. You have Justin Herbert. What is Justin Herbert going to be working with? You don't have Mike Williams. You don't have Keenan Allen. Yes, they both did have injuries. But what are you going to do? I know you focus a lot on your defense, but your defense was some trash. So you invested a lot in them, and now you need to prove where this investment is going to go. Kind of continuing on, Malik Neighbors was another one. Malik Neighbors went to the Giants. People are speculating didn't seem happy. Personally, I wouldn't be happy going to the Giants. I'm not going to be believing in Daniel Jones. Yeah, you'll put all this money into Daniel Jones. I'd low-key be a little upset if I was getting picked to play with Daniel Jones. But, hey, he going to make millions no matter what. So, I was saying online, money does not buy happiness, and it truly doesn't. Because he's in a situation, it's going to be cold, and you're going to get hit. Because that man, Daniel Jones, is not the most accurate quarterback. And it don't matter who the hell you put there with him, he's still not going to be an accurate quarterback. The Giants really need to think about, do you want to keep him for another year, or do you want to trade him somewhere else? And clearly right now you're focused on him, but I think after this year, you just got to let him go. Bite the bullet, just eat the money, the dead cat money that you're going to have, and focus on just moving forward. Other notable ones from like the front side of the NFL, Brock Bowers is going to the Raiders, so he's going to be out there in Las Vegas. I don't know who's going to be the starter there. That's a really good question. And then it brings into question as well, what is Devontae Adams going to do? Do they trust the quarterbacks they have, or are they just going to waste away Devontae Adams' talent? How is that going to all end up translating? But always getting a wide receiver is never a bad thing. Getting a tight end is never a bad thing, especially ones that are solid can be like helpful in the blocking game, in the run game too. So that's another one that I think people should pay attention to. JJ McCarthy, which I've seen some people online bringing him up. He went to the Vikings, which is notable because I think they're going to slide him right in and start him. And Justin Jefferson should continue to flourish. It's a solid pick. They did have to trade up a decent amount of picks to end up getting JJ McCarthy, but they believe he's their future. So you have all these different quarterbacks. Most of them are going to be plug and play right away. The only one that's not is Michael Penix. And that's a really questionable one that a lot of people are talking about. Why did they do it so early and they traded up for him? Whereas other picks did not do that. Like with Jordan Love, you did not draft him in the top 10. He was a little bit on the backside of 15 to 30, like the 30 side. And yet you wanted to do it now? I mean, go ahead. If y'all think you know what you're doing, okay. But I don't really think you know what you're fully doing with that pick. So the quarterbacks we did have drafted, you had Caleb Williams, you had Jaden Daniels, you had Drake May, you had Michael Penix Jr. going to Atlanta, you had J.J. McCarthy going to the Minnesota Vikings, and you had Bo Nix going to the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix, we have heard people love that pickup because he reminds them of Drew Brees. Denver Broncos are another team that we do need to see a little bit of work to make sure that they know the direction they're going in, what's going to happen out there. Bo Nix playing that Oregon style offense, so he likes to sling the football, and we just want to see if he can continue doing that in the NFL. Should compete right away for a spot, so that's like 6 quarterbacks right there that are all going to be compared to each other for their remainder, and we still have more quarterbacks that are going to be picked going forward, because you still have Spencer Rattler that's out there, which he was one of the top names at one point in time. So we'll kind of see where he ends up dropping. And the other big thing was there were no running backs in the first round. So it's round 2 and 3, we're going to see running backs picked. That's something else that will play an importance going forward. And then the cornerbacks started to get picked off the board. The Eagles chose the stud from Toledo, which was a big one, 40 games, no touchdowns thrown on him. And then the Ravens end up picking up Nate Wiggins, who they say is a solid one. I don't like some of the tape that they show. They were showing some tape when he was going up against Marvin Harrison Jr., and it just seemed as though they were reaching with that, whereas I'd rather you just play regular tape from the games. Oh, sorry, it was the Toledo one they were showing when he was playing them. But I'm just like, you don't need to just show tape to show tape. Like, just show his quality tape of what he has and don't show it up against the top players. Because if it's only 1 or 2 things in the end zone, maybe, yes, you, of course, always have to play because you don't want them to end up getting the football in the end, but you don't just have to show tape on the best receiver and nothing's really going his way in those situations. But that's a majority of the first round. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are pick number 33, so that's an important one. There have been no major trades involving players yet. Let me clarify that, because people are going to say, hey, there were trades. Yes, you're right, there were trades, but there were no trades involving players of note just yet. And what I mean by that is, like the Titans trading away A.J. Brown, and then they ended up picking up Treylon Burks. Those type of trades that they had there. And we'll kind of see how it is going forward. We have round 2 and 3. As of this recording, I'm recording this on Friday. We have rounds 2 and 3 today, so hopefully I'll do a recap tomorrow for rounds 2 and 3. And then rounds 4 through 7 are going to be Saturday, so hopefully I get something out for you all on Sunday. So that's the recap. Of course, they have the playoffs as well that I'll start to talk about too. Both sides are really fun and just great TV all around to watch. After that, you got more of the playoffs, and we got the Olympics in the summer. It's a solid time right now. There are some boring times in sports, but right now, looking forward to it. As I've gotten older, I start to look at the NFL draft in a different lens. I don't care for all the parties and stuff, man. You're just picking players. It's like, you didn't have parties when you were playing street ball on the blacktop. No, it's a monumental moment for the players that are getting drafted, especially in the first round. That's dumb money. But I like to see the overall scheme that the general managers and the owners try to come up with. Of course, the owners have to give the blessing, so they were looking at Arthur Blank. Was he or was he not really for that Michael Penix pickup, especially when they just got Kirk Cousins? So you're paying dumb money for 2 quarterbacks. Michael Penix is getting bread to be up there. And then yeah, we'll kind of just see how that is. But shout out to the LSU Tigers players, because you had Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, and then also Jaden Daniels all picked in the first round. I saw Brian Thomas, not live, but I saw his tape when he played and Malik Neighbors was not playing in one of the games towards the end of the year. And you could tell that LSU's players are just different. These wide receivers that come out of LSU have been solid, and they're starting to turn into like a wide receiver factory year over year. But that's all we got for today. Appreciate you guys rocking with us. And until next time, which will probably be tomorrow, this is Hayes. We out.